Hey guys, Dr. Alexis here, the food allergy doc, and in this video I am giving you a total behind the scenes look of the FoodClues Framework, which is my process that helps people conquer their food reactions more naturally without prescriptions, shots, or other types of medications. I'm going to give you the details of what goes into each stage of the framework, why I choose to do that stage at that time, and pull it all together to show you that a complete and comprehensive approach can give you lasting relief for your food reactions. So I'm just going to dive right in. The framework itself breaks down into 3 stages, and I found these stages to be super critical in creating that long-term relief of food reactions that clients achieve as they get to the end of the program, and also what people are looking for before they decide to move forward with the program. The 3 stages are preparation, elimination, and restoration. And I'm going to take just a couple of minutes to talk about why they are important and ultimately why those 3 together are crucial for that long-term relief. Most traditional food allergy approaches, they focus on either one of those 3 stages, sometimes 2 if they're really good, but very rarely do they address all 3 stages, or if they do sprinkle or touch on all 3 stages, it's very rare that I see them approached or addressed in the right order. So, protection, I'm sorry, preparation. Preparation is stage 1. And why that's important is because it's kind of like saying, cars perform better when they're warmed up a little bit. Athletic performance is better when the body is warmed up. Your recipe comes out better when you're baking the cake, when you've got all the things that you need set out and you're prepared to start baking. So preparation always, in a general sense, yields best results. And a lot of times what traditional approaches for food allergy treatment overlooks is preparing, and I'll back up just a little bit, assessing the body to see if it's prepared, and then preparing it accordingly before going after the issues that are driving the reactions in the first place. What does that preparation look like? In a general sense, for the FoodClues framework, it involves cleansing. Now, I know cleansing is a very common term. Your mind might essentially or very quickly go to detoxing. It's not exactly the same thing. The thing of focus in the cleanse stage, or in the cleanse part of the preparation stage, is focusing on clearing out and making sure that your elimination pathways are ready, willing, and able to get out the stuff that's driving your reactions when it's that time, when we get to the time when we actually start going after it. But if that street isn't cleared of junk and debris, nothing's getting down the road. Nothing's getting out of those elimination pathways, and that's an opportunity for things to stay trapped in the body and cause other issues. So the biggest part of preparation has to do with cleansing, specifically of your lymphatic vessels and your lymph nodes. Another analogy that I like to use is your lymphatic system almost being like your city trash system. So you collect trash in your house and you put it in the trash can. That's kind of like your organs taking waste and putting it into your lymph nodes. And then once a week, the trash can or the trash truck, the garbage truck, comes when you put the trash out at the end of your curb and picks up your trash and takes it to the landfill. That's kind of like your lymph fluid coming and allowing your lymph nodes to dump waste into your lymph fluid, and then your lymph vessels taking it to your liver, your large intestine, your bladder, your elimination organs so that you can get rid of that waste. Now, if those vessels have junk stuck in them to begin with, if your lymph nodes are clogged and they're not emptying effectively, just imagine what kind of problems that can stir up if you go to try to do a liver flush at that point, or try to clean something out of your gut or out of your stomach. If it's already emptying into a backed up waste removal system, you run the risk of just adding more fuel to the fire, creating more issues that you don't necessarily need to. So that's why the number one thing in that preparation phase has to do with flushing out those vessels and preparing your elimination and detox pathways to be able to handle what's coming next. Moving on to the next kind of aspect of preparation. The next thing that we want to prepare is our nervous system and our immune response. The two big things that kind of govern how our body handles triggers, how our body handles issues, problematic substances, germs as they come into the body. 9 times out of 10, if you are alive on this planet, you've had some type of overworking or injury, especially if you've had something like a surgery or physical injury. There's been some type of damage or dampening of your main stress and inflammatory response nerve in its performance. You may know that nerve as the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve, along with your nervous system in general, a lot of times throughout our life and throughout having to handle these food triggers or send out avoidance signals so that we don't consume them so it keeps us safe, that can really stir up a lot of issues, a lot of irritation, a lot of inflammation in the body. So another aspect of preparing the body for lasting relief and that total healing is by calming down and starting to calm down those overactive nervous system response and those overactive inflammatory responses. We just start getting them calmed down a little bit, again, in preparation for what's coming next. I actually didn't do this as much when I first started out working with clients, and it was working with clients and seeing their symptoms kind of creep up as we went through the healing process that kind of gave me that clue, oh, maybe if we actually ahead of time started calming those responses down, they won't get so excessive when we actually get to the part where we're killing germs and cleaning out toxins and stuff. So again, setting you up for success, setting you up for the best outcomes of that long-term relief in that preparation phase also incorporates an initial calming of that nervous system overactivity that most of us have and some of that inflammation overactivity that most of us have. Those are the two main components that go into the preparation stage. Now we're going to move to the second stage. That's the one that everybody's familiar about, the elimination stage. That's when we go after with guns blazing in our herbal supplements and vitamins and minerals. We go after and we eliminate the enemy that is driving your reactions, whether it's germs, whether it's toxins, other substances that are at an elevated level that the body can't clear, and too much of a good thing can be bad. That's what happens in the elimination phase. The major things that we go after, again, germs, so like viruses, bacteria, extra fungus, parasites, other type of bugs, and things like that. We go after toxins, excess substances that shouldn't be in the body. We also put an extra focus on acid elimination. There are different categories of acids, and our body needs different acids to do different things. But a lot of food allergy and intolerances, and I dare say nearly every single one, especially with my clients, I've been able to link back to some type of acid mismanagement issue, whether that mismanagement is difficulty breaking it down so that it can be eliminated, difficulty absorbing it appropriately, so it's kind of just hanging around waiting to be used and building up to a toxic level. It could be lots of different things. So one of the things in the elimination stage that we focus on, in addition to germs and toxins, is specifically making sure your body is handling acids appropriately. Now, this is where you see a lot of other traditional treatments. This is where a lot of those treatments tend to focus. So elimination diets, liver detox, things like that, in hopes of allowing the body to clear things out. That's usually what's happening in this second phase, and for a good reason. However, kind of like I said in the beginning, if this is all that's happening and you're not getting preparation to make sure that the body can even handle all this elimination and getting stuff out of the body, or you're not considering what happens afterwards and how to heal the body afterwards, you can be missing a big opportunity in that food allergy freedom journey. So we've talked about stage 1, preparation. We've talked about stage 2, elimination. And then we're going to wrap it up and talk about stage 3, restoration. Again, another heavy hitter stage that is often missed in traditional approaches. And I often describe it to clients like this. It's like, I know I said I often do, but I use like different analogies depending on who I'm talking to. But essentially, if you can imagine, after we've gone and cleaned the body out of, the things that have been holding it back, we've cleaned it out of germs, we've cleaned it out of toxins, we've got our, acids kind of cleared out, eliminated the excess and got those working for us a little bit better. You can probably imagine and appreciate that your organs, your vessels, your cells, your tissues, they've been taking a beating for a few years. They've probably got some, resulting damage. um, Communication lines, brain to body communications don't work as well as they used to because they've been held back by so much toxicity. They've been held back by so many germs and infections, so much uncontrolled inflammation that they don't even function properly. And a lot of times it's those connections, it's those chemical reactions, it's the integrity of those organs, tissues, cells, and vessels that are needed to be able to handle our foods appropriately, to be able to break them down, absorb the nutrients, get them to where they need to go. A lot of that is held up when we're in the face of infection, inflammation, toxicity. And now that we're in the restoration stage, they can continue to be held up if nothing's done to heal and restore them to a more regulated and normalized function. So again, um, the number one approach, the traditional approach that does kind of touch on this a little bit is or are your immunotherapies. They do focus on trying to desensitize and like retrain the immune system to better handle um, food triggers. However, it can those same approaches can be missing an appropriate or an adequate preparation and elimination stage. So you can retrain the immune system all you want, but if you still got an underlying infection that nobody's paying attention to, or you've got a blocked up lymphatic system and you can't get stuff out of your body, that might still continue to complicate that immune system performance. All that to say, that's why the restoration phase is just as important as the other two stages. So what are we restoring? I kind of touched on it a little bit, but I'm going to give you kind of like the heavy hitters that the FoodClues framework really focuses on restoring, again, to get that long-term relief. The gut-brain axis through the vagus nerve, that main communicator pathway between your digestive system and your brain, we really focus on restoring that. Any leftover healing that needs to be done in any of those tissues and nerves, we focus on getting the chemical reactions up and regulated and performing at an optimal level. We also focus on getting our gut and our skin connection going. A lot of our reactions happen through our skin. So restoring that adequate and regulating that optimal gut-skin relationship can better or help the body better handle food signals, the characteristics of foods as they are introduced into the body, and know whether to signal to the body that something is threatening and be able to take care of it adequately, or know that it's safe and appropriate and there's no other compensated response or overactivity that used to kind of exist when you had other things that hadn't been eliminated or cleared. One of the other things that we focus on a lot in the restore stage is hormone, neurotransmitter, our body chemical performance. So getting the body able to produce those hormones and chemicals to an adequate level, and then communicating with our brain, our nervous system, and our organs to make sure that those hormones and neurotransmitters are getting where they need to be and being used appropriately. That's another heavy hitter in the restore phase. We also do a very focused or take a lot of focus on restoring effective digestive system performance. As you can imagine, a lot of food triggers come out of, or a lot of food triggers result in the digestive system just not functioning the way it naturally supposed to. So after we've prepared the body for effective cleaning out and cleaned it out of everything that it needed to be in the elimination stage, we focus on restoring the digestive system to its normal and regulated function. One of the other heavy hitters that we focus on is liver and gallbladder performance. Your liver and gallbladder are like BFFs. They work together for a lot of different functions. And your liver by itself has over 500 functions that it performs to keep our bodies healthy and happy. Your liver additionally is 40% responsible, or 40% of your liver performance has to do with immune system performance. So that's another heavy hitter that we tend to focus on to make sure that, since there's so many relationships, or so many, I guess that's what I can say, relationships between food reactions and how the immune system performs in relationship to them. That's why we put some extra emphasis on liver performance. Gallbladder performance helps us to be able to digest and break down our foods more appropriately. A lot of times our reactions in the past, or our food triggers, are related to the inability for the body to just break down things effectively. So we focus on the organs that help with that. And then the final part of our restoration phase is just optimizing everything to work together as a nice whole unit. You can probably appreciate, or you've heard somebody say, the body's all connected. Well, the very, very last stage of restoration, and the very, very last thing that we do within that stage, is to optimize the body's ability for all the organs, all the tissues, all the chemicals, all everything to just work together in a more appropriate and regulated state. So that's a recap of the whole FoodClues framework. I'll break it down really fast for you. It's 3 main phases: preparation, elimination, and restoration. Some of the heavy hitters that we focus on along those 3 phases are cleaning out and opening up your elimination pathways so that things down the road that we clean out of the body can get out and don't get stuck. We calm down the nervous system and your inflammatory responses before we even go after the enemy, so that symptoms don't get too revved up when we do. Then we actually go after the enemy: acids, germs, toxins, other unwanted substances, make sure that they get cleaned out. And then we start restoring normal function. We put extra emphasis on gut, brain, skin, the largest organ in your body, hormones, body chemicals, and the digestive system, along with your liver and gallbladder. Then we put a nice big red bow on everything by optimizing total body function. And that's essentially how we help to guide you towards achieving that food allergy freedom that you've been seeking long term, so that you can enjoy the people, the places, and the foods that you want more freely and fearlessly.